Alright, this is gonna be a fun one. Hello, this is TK Shazam. I'm just a nerd who likes Tekken and talking about it. I am by no means a professional player. I just like playing Paul, or Bruce if he comes back. Please, well, I don't know if I want to see Bruce in Tekken 8 actually. It'd be kind of dumb. It'd just be lame. We'll see. Anyway, Season 2 dropped. It's a shit show. But Paul got some neat changes that I wanted to talk about. And because I can. That's pretty much the reason. Alright, let's get into it. The bad. Paul received a lot of nerfs. I guess to compensate the buffs that he got that do radically change his character design. For some reason. It feels like, oh, we can't buff Paul too much, we should tone it down. For what they seem to believe is some semblance of balance. If I sound bitter throughout this video, it's because I am. I think Paul is really fun right now for a few reasons. I just don't think it was worth shitting the entire franchise's legacy to do it. But that's neither here nor there. Speaking of legacy, so I'm pressing 2-3 as Paul, and you might notice a little difference. Paul is doing a 2-jab into back 3 for some reason. Yeah, don't know what's going on there. Anyway, the old 2-3, which was a high counter hit combo, that with the 3 being a counter hit launcher, was just removed. Similarly, 2 down 3, right, the little boop boop, was also removed for whatever reason. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Instead, Paul received a 10-frame punish, his first new 10-frame punish since forever, really. It's pretty good. It honestly is pretty good. But was it worth reducing the legacy of that move? I don't know. If you were like me, you did not mess around with the move too much, old 2-3. But if you were someone who did use it, it was a really solid combo tool for some filler in certain situations, either netting you that perfect wall splat that you needed. Other times it'd be a great frame trap for these online like monsters that just refuse to respect any frames. It was pretty neat, right? I was never a big fan of the move, thought it was a little awkward, but I know people who swear by it, and my heart does go out to them, right? Even if I was not a fan of the move, I'm not a fan of just legacy shit changing for the sake of change. Even if I am a big fan of this 10-frame punish, but we can get to that later. Another nerf was that Heat Deathfist does not wall splat from farther away. So let's put this dummy to approach us. Let's not be annoying. So before, let's say like right here, this looks pretty familiar, right? Heat Deathfist, boom. If that were the old Heat Deathfist, this would wall splat like that, but from way farther away. And you will definitely feel that lack of wall splat range. I miss it. I loved Heat Deathfist. That reminded me of old Rage Drive Deathfist from Tekken 7. Now, it's not all nerfs, right? There's a reason why this move received this. Whether or not I agree it's enough, it's a bit of a mixed bag. But just understand that, oh, why isn't my Deathfist wall splatting? Well, it's because it breaks armor now, which we'll talk about later. But for right now, I just want to put the nerfs in one nice, neat little section. He received a bunch of damage nerfs. Forward 2 does less damage. Back 1 does less damage. Back 1-2 is still a 30 damage knockdown punish, so I don't really feel it. It's whatever. The one that really feels weird is wall running 2. Whoops. I can't do it now. There we go. Okay, so the standing version was reduced to 19 damage, which is fine, whatever. But for some reason, the running version that hits on an aerial opponent received a 5 damage nerf. With the new additions of Paul's strong aerial tailspin, his combo damage has largely remained the same from Season 1 when it comes to bread and butter launchers or most of his counter hit launchers. I think his combo game on stray hits and low parries has improved for the most part, but yes, it seems like they didn't want Paul doing too much damage even though it's Paul. And Wall Running 2, as a result, received some nerfs. Such is life, I guess. That's whatever. Core Circle Back 4 is on its 4th nerf? It's like its 4th damage nerf, I swear. You know this thing used to do 20 damage in Tekken 7? That's crazy. So this now only does 17 damage. You might see some people go, oh, well, what's the point of this between this and down forward 2? And to them I say, look at the screen, please. Come on. I'm not a fan of the nerf, don't get me wrong, but I'm not about to tell you that Quarter Circle Back 4 and down forward 2 are anywhere close in terms of the same utility or even the damage, right? One of them is a counter hit launcher, the other is not, right? One of them, you're still gonna get, oh, that's right, I can't do key charges anymore. Thanks, Bamco. Oh boy, I just love going to menus and menus and menus. Right, I'm still getting 20 damage on counter hit launcher, which is solid. If I do like a basic combo, assuming I don't mess up said combo. Oh wait, oh my god, I'm brain farting. I did not get the clean hit, but that adds on like 4 more damage. 84 damage. It's all about the same-ish. You are still cracking that 80 threshold with a relatively basic combo as far as what basic for Tekken 8 Paul is, and I think that's fine. It's still a bit, it still stings, especially once you see how other characters are faring in terms of damage. Lars. I actually did cough there, that hurt. It is what it is. I think these are frustrating from an overall design philosophy. Like in a vacuum, I don't fully disagree with some of these damages. Like, sure, what Paul loses out in combo damage, he's more than making up for it in neutral damage, trust me. But it does feel a bit silly when you look at the full picture, right? When you look at where Tekken 8 is, where some of these characters are in terms of their damage, in terms of like their combos, you go, really? Y'all felt Paul was that? Needed that? Such is life. We move on, right? The other one is going to be, let's do standing block. A pushback, holy, you really never notice that until it looks at you straight in the face. A pushback nerf to wall standing 2. So if someone's blocking this, right? You know, okay, actually, I have to know. I'm so curious. Where is wall? A pushback nerf to wall standing 2. As you can clearly see, they're gonna punish you, right? Honestly, not okay. Wait, hold on. I'm so curious. I need to know. Whoop. That still has it. Why? Why? Whatever. Most of the players that I fight with, most of the players that you'll see online, they will be punishing that move, right? I don't think it's the end of the world that there is pushback to it. Kind of. It's just another kind of like a, you had to do me like that, I guess, right? There's also Deathfist pushback reduced, supposedly. It kind of looks like that, but I still get those weird instances where Deathfist does like the super pushback. I haven't really noticed it, but also I'm not throwing out Deathfist unless I'm like really, oh yeah, that does kind of look really punishable. I don't know. I think it depends. Your results may vary. That pushback still looks to be pretty good. Is Heat Deathfist reduced? No, that's still a pretty good pushback. Anyway, So that's the bad. Those are the major nerfs from Paul. At least those ones with the down arrows, I think. Oh, down 3. Wait, that's still there. What the fuck? Wait. I'm not crazy, right? Oh, okay. So when Paul did down 3 like this, right? So you see this little animation he does here, this little twirl, right? Before, his down 3 would just do that, but now his down 3 animation was changed to be down back 3, which, depending on how you will look at it, is a buff, kind of? I think? Yeah, it's kind of a buff. Oh wait, I still have counter hit on. I'm stupid. Alright, so this is slower? This one has like weird range, but this one, the new down 3 is better than the old down 3, but both of them are very just kind of like, they are lows you want to use to maybe close out a round or call out someone using a high move and just be like, take this, and then you might poke them for one hit for the final to close the round, which is fine. This is not a core low that you want to be using. It's whatever. But again, just it's gone. I don't see this as a nerf because I think I like down back 3 more than just the old down 3 where he does like a little twirl. Much like, look, man, that is really good range, honestly. If this was not launch punishable and maybe a little bit faster, I would. This could be our Brian down back 3. God, that low is so good. Anyway. So those are the nerfs. The good. Now this is gonna take some time. I wanted to make this video, but I also want to make sure that I cover most of what I want to talk about when I talk about these options. Let's get some of the weirder or inconsequential buffs out of the way, right? If you press forward and 3+4, Paul will now do QCF, his QCF motion, right? If you do back 3+4, Paul does sway. If you do down forward 3+4, Paul does the deep dive. Get ready to see this a lot, right? These are easy inputs. Why were they added? Because they see Paul as a beginner-friendly character and they want more people to use him as like an entryway, which is very funny considering a lot of things. I will save any philosophy discussions on modern fighting game design maybe for another video. For now, I'm just going to talk about the merits and the pros and cons of the changes here. The merits, this is really easy. This is, you know, press two buttons and that boy moving forward. The cons. So I want you to take a look at me doing Deathfist normally, right? Barely, like you don't even see Paul do this roll dash thing, right? Now I want you to take a look at that and then compare it to when Paul does the easy input. Paul does like a little, you see the roll dash, right? But if you're doing a Deathfist, either at the fastest or as close as you can to fastest possible input, you hardly see the actual roll dash come out. As a result, this applies to all of the easy mode transitions with one notable exception, right? So deep dive, look at deep dive 4. Noticeable lag between going into the stance and then for the low to finally come out, right? Compare that to when I do it with the manual input, right? Nearly instant. It's, don't get me wrong, if nothing else is going on in the match and you see Paul dive like this, you can respond to it with your reaction, sure, right? If he does that, right, there's a bit more of, you can see, like, you can visually see the delay. This also applies to sway. So sway 4, you see Paul do the actual like sway, like you see him dip back, as opposed to manual input, right? Nearly instant, right? Nearly instant. I'm not good enough to claim that I can get sway 4 to come out in, what is it, 17 frames perfectly every time. But if I'm doing a sway 4, you are not seeing the back sway input, just straight up. Right. there's not really, I don't know the frame data. I don't know the exact numbers of how many frames of lag there are, right, between these inputs. They could be 10, they could be 20 for all I know. I don't know, right? What I do know is if you're trying to, you know, approach with your opponent like this with your easy inputs, it's not going to work out. The extra lag that they added also affects combos, right? So if let's just do super basic, right? Right, I get that combo, but if I start adding in a lot more hits, right, for the basic B&Bs, oh, whoops, assuming I don't drop it. No, alright, I'm not gonna waste time showing it. The easy inputs, because of their extra lag, make their combo utility a bit more awkward. It makes their neutral a bit awkward. I think you can still get away with like Backsway because of the evasiveness of Backsway, right? It still does that camera thing, where it's so weird, right? Like, oh, if you didn't know, Backsway up close, because if you're close to the opponent, the camera has a bit more room to work with. Paul does a really big sway, but if you're farther away, he does like a little sway because camera restrictions. It's very weird. I don't understand that. But anyway, honorable mention, the one that maybe you should experiment with if you want to try these transitions, right? These easy mode transitions. Back 3 plus sway 3. I can't talk. Sway 1+2 does not seem to have the lag. Again, look. Here is. Whoops. Let's do this. Here is sway 2. Like you see the visual sway. But then if I do it manually, right, very little sway. However, sway 1+2, it's still a little bit there, but you can really rip these out. It's so fascinating. I don't understand why it's like that. All right. Why does this matter? Okay, if I can show it, I will. This will be immortalized forever because, oh my god, that is hype. I most likely can't because I'm bad, but it's whatever. Get ready for the next. How many times has it happened to you? Right? You've blocked Paul. You've blocked. Imagine Paul with back 3. You've blocked Asuka back 3, and you're like, wowee, I am so happy. And then you can't punish it because she's super far away, and you're like, what do I do? Well, technically she's -18. You can do forward 2-1. That can be very execution intensive. And if you're somehow a god, right, you can do QCB. It's -19, so you have 1 frame of leniency. 1 frame. You can input, you know, QCB 1+2. Well, now with this back input, oh fuck. Oh my god, I'm not gonna get it. I'll give it like 3 tries. If I don't get it, it is what it is. Oh no. Okay, wait, let me try the bind. Ah, so close. Just... Ah, so close. But you see how easy that was. It was so close. I'm almost right there. Almost worth practicing, right? Because I'm already struggling with this, right? God, sway 1+2 is so evasive. I'm already struggling with that. There's no way I'm doing a quarter circle back motion in block stun, right? I'll do what I can. Don't keep in mind, this is still difficult, mind you, but this is the closest you're gonna get to like really hardcore punishing that move, right? Without diving into like forward 2-1 or maybe down forward 4 or something like that, right? So I don't know why that exception exists. There are a lot of questions I have for the devs, and not all of them are very nice. But the easy inputs are here. Will they be taken away in the future? I don't know, right? Also, manual DPD, yeah, I think it has some uses. It's interesting. For the most part, inconsequential. If you can, I recommend just practicing your quarter circle inputs, right? Improves your speed, besides for QCB 1+2. And the easy inputs are nice, but if you're trying to do this, you know, manual as your neutral as opposed to just this, you're missing out, right? The easy inputs, look at how look at how the easy inputs, look at the comparison. So I'm doing down forward 3+4, so I'm entering deep dive and trying to cancel into block as fast as I can. You can see the manual lag on the screen in front of you, right? Like you can see it in real time compared to when I'm doing the manual entry into DPD and then canceling into block. Nearly instant. Paul has a wave dash right now. It's really funny, right? I think there's more value in getting used to these manual inputs because there's so much flexibility. With DPD, you can still do the instant wall standing options. It's just not the same compared to how fast you can do it with a little bit of dexterity, right? Anyway, forward 1+4. This received some nerfs. I don't know. The hitbox of people have reported the hitbox is a little bit weird. Other people are saying, well, this finally has a real wall splat now. So before, I guess this did not wall splat. I did not use this at the wall that much, so I don't know. But people are saying, you know, the streets are saying this wall splats now, and looks like it. Yeah. If it didn't do that before, I'm not sure, but it is interesting. But the trade-off again, I guess I should have listed that in the nerfs. It's whatever. They auto backroll now. You can no longer, you know, squeeze in. You know, let's say your opponent's mental stack is a bit drained. They forget to hold back. You no longer get that run up. Let me get a free down back 2, right? And I've ended a lot of rounds with that because this move is insane. This doesn't just apply to Paul only. It was a universal system change. Anything that has that stupid hold back knockdown, which sure you can argue is a knowledge check. It was. I'm not gonna deny that. But I like the little flavor it adds to the matches. Were you aware enough to see that you got hit and hold back, or did your defenses fall apart at the very last moment? You were just so drained from the mental stack pressure of Paul that he was able to get that little, you know, run up that cheeky last hit to close out the game. I don't know. I do not know. But it's gone. However, Paul can now do up 1+2, whoops, up 1+2, and do his infamous sidestep shoulder, right? This is fascinating. So previously, if you're crouching, right, if you tried to do this input, you'd get a bunch of wall standing moves or whatever. You wouldn't have access to some of Paul's panic options. But now, because let's say something forces you in crouch or you duck some low, high, mid string, you can try this out. You can block and then immediately do the shoulder, right? Because of that up input, canceling your crouch, thus enabling you to just get out of jail free. Get out of jail free, right? Lots of interesting applications here as a panic option. It's just more abusable as a panic option, which is a neat buff, right? Unfortunate about the little damage, right? This is very annoying. Why would they do this? I don't know. However, it is still the get out of jail free card. It has been since Tekken 7 Season 3, right? Additionally, as a funny little gimmick, right? So because of that up input, so let's say if I'm doing sway, right? I'm doing sway and then this. Notice the little bit of lag, right? Because I'm canceling into that forward input. But what happens if I do it with the new special inputs that he got, right? Like what happens? Boom, baby! You can see before I have to let the sway rock a little bit, right? Again, oops. Let the sway rock a little bit and then boop, right? But now it's so weird. I'm literally canceling any movement I want with, whoops, with this up input. Interesting applications in terms of how many times have you tried to approach someone and they just start lashing out keypad at you. You know, mess around with it. Do this, run at them, start waving at them, and then boom. Huge sidestep shoulder. It's very gimmicky. I think the applications from crouch are, you know, it's more applicable as a panic move now. That's already enough. I don't think you're going to get a lot of crazy mileage canceling your movement options into the sidestep shoulder, into forward 1+4, right? But it's there. I think it's useful to know. Excuse me. Another easy input that was changed. Does this look familiar? Wow. Wow, I've seen that move before. I've seen that move every time I accidentally fat fingered a backdash into a forward 1 input, right? Oop. Anyway, back forward 1, Paul's backswing blow has now been changed to up forward 1. As a result of the easier input, his knockdown has changed. He no longer gets guaranteed Deathfist, which is a massive nerf to the damage. Again, however, the trade-off, right, is that this button you can just press wherever and whenever you want, right? No more of that awkward, like, oh, I'm just dashing back and forth and accidentally fat fingered it, and then now I get the backswing blow, right? It is more applicable as a panic option than it was before, right? This is, I've evaded like Claudio mid-high strings with it, right? I've evaded like Paul 3-2 with it. Obviously, Paul 3-2, if you know what's happening, duck and launch because there's no other follow-up. But again, same thing. If I'm crouching, boom, up forward 1, boom, up forward 1. It's just easier to apply as a panic option now. And so now I'm just curious, right? Like what other strings or common offensive situations can you? I don't like using the word option select, but you know, you have an easier time of dealing with, right? Let's say like Leo BOK, right?
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh, I'd have to test that. So previously, whenever Leo enters BOK, the back 1+4 stance, this stance where they're standing up on one leg, right? Previously, Paul just does this and it shuts down 99% of the options from the stance, right? The two options that they can really do to counter it is canceling the stance into block, sacrificing their stance mix-up, which I'm more than happy with, or going for a big homing high attack, which is a counter hit launcher and does counter hit you out of forward 1+4. But again, I think mitigating all those mind games to like 2 options, I think is pretty good, right? I digress. I think up forward 1 now has similar applications where there are certain strings that you can be able to, you can kind of just go, if you don't respect this, I'm gonna make you have a not nice day, right? What those strings are, good luck. There's too many moves, too many characters. For a variety of reasons, I'm just not really hardcore labbing Tekken 8 as much as I used to, but it's whatever. Anyway, yeah, so up forward 1, oh, and then Wallsplats, which is nice, right? So I think it is useful. How many times does Leo go for that silly throw that they do, right? Oh, can I, oh, I'll lab it for later. Well, I'm already right here. How do they do that? Yeah, it's like that, okay. Oh, that's right. Boop, jab, record it. Okay, reset. Yeah, look at that, right? How many times has Leo done that? Look at that. Oh, beautiful. How many times have you been against Leo and they do that stupid 1+2 grab and they do their stupid ass wall combo, right? And now, I mean, you can do that before, right? But now, instead of a punishable mid, you have a safe on block high, right? Do it, do it, do it! Ah! Amazing. I am losing my mind. Alright, so again, the easy inputs that he got aren't necessarily game-changing, but I think they offer some nice extra utility in certain situations, some more than others. 1+2. LL, if you are somehow watching this, I hope you're doing well. And I hope Street Fighter is treating you better than Tekken did. Anyway, 1+2 has always been a very niche move. Startup is just so slow. The tracking is better, sure, but I don't know. I guess they want us to use it more, so it got buffed. This thing's now -10 on block. What else? They kept talking about how if you cancel it into sidestep, into the forward dash, right? If you cancel it into the forward dash and cancel it sidestep, they said they took that away, but it feels the same to me. I'm not sure what's going on there. Not really sure. Okay. But this move is now -10. I think a 30 damage knockdown. Also, if it knocks down, it means it's a Wallsplat, right? I think a -10 Wallsplat. I think it's a pretty good option. Maybe mess around with it at the wall. In neutral, all the funky stance applications it has, right, obviously are just better because of the deep dive transitions and this fancy low that we'll talk about later, right? And if you're in heat, man, you can really hammer this thing out. Oh my god! All right. Let's do it. How do I? Okay, let's just activate heat. That's right, baby. Paul and heat. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5? That's really like kind of like when I run. You can do a lot of these, right? And you know, a lot. Even the full charge, if you somehow get it, it just really doesn't use a lot of heat. I still got heat a lot. I still got heat. Very fascinating change. So if you're using it before, I think it is much better now, right? -10 over -13, pretty good. If you weren't using it before, maybe consider using it a little bit more at the wall. I'm still probably not going to use it that much. Sorry, LL, but I'm just not a big tech guy. I just like poking, and I like neutral. I'm not good at set play. I'm just not, so I don't. Okay. Quarter circle back 1 now leaves the opponent closer on hit, right? So more situations where you're guaranteed down back 2 is kicking in, right? Solid, nice little quality of life, nothing too crazy. Right. All right, this is gonna be the weird one. So Paul received a new heat move. That's right, Paul is now more annoying in heat, more than ever, more than he already was. Forward 2 1+2 is a mid jailing string that was specifically noted to track sidestep right. This is like, yeah, this move tracks sidestep right. That's Paul's weak side. It's really good. Sure. This move wall splats into a full combo, right? baby mode 90 damage combo. I love it. And it is +1 on block, right? In the open ground there is more pushback, so a little bit more, right? They're not in clean hit range. If you go to the wall, now they're in clean hit range, right? It's gonna be a running theme here. You are left in clean hit range, use it, abuse it. I don't understand this move. I really don't. I don't really get it. Some people use it as a combo ender, but it uses up so much of your heat in neutral. I just don't see the value of it, right? Nearly half of it's gone when I'd rather just do a Deathfist. So I get 2 of these. Oh, it's like... Oh, I can't. Okay, so you get 3 of them, similar to Deathfist. I don't see the value in it. Right, again, so why am I so annoyed with this move, right? Okay, I don't understand what the point of it was. This move, right, the 1+2 addition does nothing. If the opponent was already doing sidestep right, as long as you are doing forward 4-2, you are tracking, right? Weird inconsistencies aside, sure, right? But if you were doing this, right? This is, look at that axis. Look at it, right? Forward 4-2 already tracks sidestep right. What is the point of an addition? If the first part of that connects, right? Well, okay. So if someone's doing sidestep right duck, no, I think that's just too many levels to it. You're telling me someone's gonna step this exactly, whoops, and somehow be able to fuzzy it on block already? Maybe? Is it really that big of an issue? Right? Oh, whoops. Right? If the first hit connects, you're getting the just frame, no matter what. Tracking sidestep right with this move in particular forward forward 2 was not an issue. I don't see what this adds to it, right? This new fancy, oh, he's +1. It's cool. I'd rather just use Heat Deathfist, bro. I'd rather just use Heat Deathfist. Because, like, again, look, side step left. That's not tracking. Even though the elbow is coming from that side, for whatever reason, the forward forward 2 has always been really good at tracking side step right. Right. I can't even get that. I can't even. Okay. If I'm very fast, sure, maybe a slight delay, but most of the time, forward forward 2 is good at against side step right. I don't really feel the extra oomph from forward forward 2 1+2. Right. Another weird inconsistency that I don't quite understand. So forward forward 2 can be done from full crouch. It is Pauls 14 frame crouching punish, which comes up if you use it at the wall, because forward forward 2-1 gives you a very specific wall splat that you can resplat with, right? So let's go here. Let's go repeat, record, jab, QCF3, record this movement, and let's run it. Jab. Oh, whoops. Oh. There's you can respot with QCF1 on certain angles and some shit. It's pretty good, right? But when you have heat and you try to go for forward 2 1+2, it changes the frame data, and I don't know why. Okay, so I was punishing it before, right? Let's just do it one more time. Punish. Okay, cool. Not a punish. If you look at the frame data, when I do forward 2 1+2, it's 15 frames as opposed to 14. Again, I don't know why. Was this really that powerful that you didn't want him to have it as a 14 frame punish? Really? I don't know if it's a bug. There's a lot of weird bugs in this patch. But anyway, if you're in a situation where you block QCF3 from Paul, make sure you're not doing the 1+2, because it will be 15 frames and you'll lose your punish. You should still most likely hit it in most cases. It's whatever. Right. Anyway. Oh, let's check off heat. I don't hate the move. I'm kind of whatever about it. It's not good. It doesn't really change anything for me when it comes to Paul. If you like it, if you think, no, this is insane, there are so many applications for it, let me know. I'm more than willing to try things out, right? On to the next one. All right, our 12 frame shoulder has lost 2 damage. This was not listed in the Nerfs section because I'm not losing sleep over 2 damage, right? This is still, back 1-2 does more damage as a punish. Back 1-2 also has worse range. Down 1+2 is still your go-to punish in most situations where they're -12 with some pushback, right? Where you are unable to get back 1-2, you can get down 1+2, and those situations come up a lot because back 1 being a high is still very awkward for some punishes, right? For example, Kuma's Power Crush. I don't think it heat engages anymore with the little headbutt that he does, even though he's -12. Back 1-2 would very often whiff. If he cancels into stance, down 1+2 will always get him. But they did something interesting. So why am I mentioning down 1+2? Why did it lose 2 whole points of damage? Am I blind? Where the hell is counter? Oh, counter. Should have added the Guilty Gear effect. That would have been funny. Counter. Boop. Boop. Congratulations. Your 12 frame mid is now on counter hit of 55 damage. 55 damage guaranteed, baby. If this looks familiar, it's very similar to the other guaranteed Deathfist situations, right? You're not getting Deathfist with this. You look at the so from down back 1+2, which is already difficult as Deathfist, you have a frame advantage of 22, right? I don't know why it says +30. Pay attention to the parentheses. That's like your real amount of frame advantage you get to get. There I did Deathfist at 22 frames, and you saw me miss it a few times. I'm not, it's difficult. It's in the heat of the match, I just do basic stuff, right? I'm not here for anything fancy. In down 1+2, you have 16 frames. You're not getting a Deathfist, just straight up, right? Maybe frame perfect if you're good. It's not worth the execution, right? It's just too easy to screw up. You're getting 55 damage, right? You're getting 55 guaranteed damage with just double shoulder. Just do double shoulder. But of course, it cannot all be sunshine and roses with Paul, right? As a result, this move has potentially increased block stun. I don't know, it's still kind of fast. But it is now minus 18 as opposed to the minus 16 it has been since the dawn of time, right? Since the land before time, this move has been minus 16. But now it is minus 18. It is a nerf. It is a nerf where more characters can launch you than previously. I think Steve can now launch you. Was his crouching frame the 18? I don't remember. They homogenized everybody. Most people could have launched you at 16. Now maybe one more person launches you at 18 with maybe a slightly better launcher. I don't think it matters, right? This is still one of the most evasive 12 frame mids in the game. Like, if you press a high against this, right? Okay, let's do standing block, after hitter block, punish. Let's do punishment. Yes, record this movement. Boop. Okay. All right. You're still, this is the greatest anti-jab, anti-high move. I've gone under a lot of things, right? I've gone under a lot of things. So if the opponent is pressing a jab, they went for a jab, which is like 5 damage, a single one jab's 5 damage, right? I've countered it on, so it's a little bit more, but 5 damage. They went for a jab, and you just go, whoops, whoops. Can I not do it? Am I losing my mind? Yes, and that's for that. 55 damage, right? The amount of times that this move has become an absolutely crucial panic option to defend against like the onslaught of stance mix-ups in Tekken 8 Season 2, super valuable, right? Very, very few scary things when you try to go for a simple high move and then all of a sudden Paul just slams the shoulder on you, right? And gets 55 damage, bro. 55. If you want to slow down the pace of the match, look no further. You disrespect your opponent, just do it. Just do it. If you're uncertain, figure out where you can do it, right? Here's a fun one. Let's do Paul. Paul. Boop, boop, boop. So if you're in the mirror, good luck, right? Whoops. Right? If you're in the mirror, assuming you don't mistime it like I did, you're going for your standard setup, and all of a sudden you just ate 50 damage. Or, oh my god, that is not a lot of window. You gotta be on point, right? It's more of a hard call out than a read, right? But all of a sudden you're going for your standard pressure in the match, and you just ate a shitload of damage for no reason, right? Oh my god. All right, timing's really tight. The moment you see the down forward one, just let it rip. If you need the counter to it, right, just do whoops, do sidestep cancel into block. Oh, whoops. Oop. Oh, I cannot function. Oh my god. Yes. Right. Sidestep cancel into block. But this 12 frame mid is it's really funny. Very powerful tool. Yes, it's more punishable. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not. You can get away with this very few often. And by the time the opponent has blocked this, right? By the time they block it, that means you have slowed down the pace of the match, and now you've conditioned them to respect you a bit more, because they're going to be constantly second guessing that the pressure that they go for, right? So now you can do a bunch of other neat little things. Again, 1 step forward, 10 steps back. Isn't that right, Bamco? At the wall, this gets very awkward. I don't know why. At the wall, it looks good here, but there are certain angles where the counter hit just doesn't seem to work properly. It causes like a weird slump, right? Let's do... Like you saw there, it kind of slumped very quickly, right? I'm not able to get my classic, you know, down 1+2 into the QCB 3-2-1 wall combo, right? You gotta figure out a different strategy. Yeah, the counter is just very weird. There are just certain situations. Be mindful of that. But I think, again, losing some wall utility, yes, that's where Paul is the strongest. Yes, it is kind of whack that Paul is losing utility at the wall where he's supposed to be, you know, he's not Brian, but he's up there, you know. Very few characters are matching Paul's pressure at the wall. I think it is fine for how much utility you get against pressure in the open ground. Getting guaranteed 55 damage, very useful. Very useful. Alright. Up back 2. This move. Let me turn this off. Let's do stand block. Anyway, this move, oh my god. If you are somehow have been watching me for a while, you know how much I love this move. I love this move. And then Bamco went, hey, that random nerd that keeps talking about up back 2, we should make it more powerful, right? Let's make it homing. So they gave it a similar charge up property that Hammer has, that Paul has with his other options, right? You charge it up, and then this becomes its classic homing property, and it becomes plus. Paul has a homing plus on block mid. Neat. Very, very, and it does a shitload of chip. Oh my god. Look at that chip, brother. Literally the only thing that does more chip than it is like fully charged hammer, right? There's just so much chip. +1 is not a lot, but you're playing Paul. You can be creative with it. You can do a lot with it, right? It's still good. Now, why do I like this move, right? At the wall, this thing's huge. Look at that. Look at all that. What's the... Okay. You know the difference. I'm still going to show it anyway because I'm gushing about this move. Oh man, this pushback's so annoying. If only there was something that could assist with reducing this pushback and making Paul very scary. The ever reliable wall. Look at that. Look at that beautiful pushback. Non-existent pushback. But Shazam! +1, it's not scary. Okay, that's fine. Again, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Right? You're a +1, you can frame trap with a 10 frame if you wish, but the biggest thing is there's no pushback, so now you're +1, and now you can demo man them as much as you want. Do it again. Oh, I have counter hit on. Whoops. That's not good. Run up, do it again. And then let's set our hero to tech roll. Get me right. Right, look at that. Look at that. Let's do Kemi left. Oh, whoops. Whoops. Look at that. They tech roll right into it. It's insane. This move is insane now. Very powerful applications for Oki. If you don't want, and also like, look at how low. Like Paul really ducks under. I've ducked under plenty of jabs, including G clefs. Right? I've ducked under Lars. I've ducked under drag. I'll duck under some jabs. Right? But you don't want to use this in the open wall. You don't. I can understand. Oh, the charge up is so long. Even though it's a homing plus on block mid, it's so scary. People are always mashing. Okay, sure. I implore you, Use this at the wall. Set up some frame shots with 2-3. Do whatever you need to. You got multiple wall splatting throws, right? Set this up at the wall. Mix up your opponent. Put on that pressure. And when they start tech rolling, remind them why they should not be doing that, right? Again, take a look at... Not standard approach. Look at the classic up back 2. I was already a fan of this move just to begin with, right? It pushes them to the wall. I can run up for some Oki, but it doesn't give me that wall splat, right? Now, right, they are getting wall splat from coast to coast, baby. Look at this. The wall is on their side. There is no way Paul is getting a wall splat. Ah, but the ever reliable up back 2. Look at how far they fly. Look at it. All right. Again, weird access. Oh, let me see if I can angle it. No, it's always so weird. It's so weird to get these angles. Alright, well, bear with me, alright. Back us to the wall. Oh my god, I'm never gonna get it. I'm gonna embarrass myself trying to get this thing. I refuse to let it go. Alright, side is to the wall. Boom! Boom! There you go. There you go, alright. The wall splat range vastly increased. You're getting a wall splat, you're getting a combo into more Oki. Highly implore you to use this move on Oki. In a sim, if you're already using it, you don't gotta change anything, just hold it for longer. Right, look at that, look at that. Look at how far they fly. And that was like the crazy wall, that was a good wall splat. Very, very useful option, and Oki at the wall especially. And the chip damage is very useful. Alright, let's talk about 2-3 real quick. Alright, why do I mention 2-3? Okay, 2-3. Natural hitting, 22 damage combo that leaves you +8 and leaves you very close to the opponent. Alright, let's make this very simple. If I do 1-2, this pushes them out of Demo Man range. Oops. If I do 2-3, they are in Demo Man range. This is now your 10 frame punish. Use it at every single opportunity available. It is incredibly useful. Being able to do +8 and threaten Demo Man is incredibly useful. The mental stack pressure from this low alone will win you games. But Shazam, they can just backdash it. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Except, they can't backdash 90% of anything else that you do, right? Boop, boop. Oh, down forward one still catching them. How many times? Wait, actually, this is a good chance to check. I need to know for science. Oh my god, this video is going to be incredibly long. I'll have timestamps. I'll go through it and make timestamps. Okay. Boop. How many times have you fought Elisa and she just backdashes once, right? Look at this. Okay, backdash once. What is this? What is this, Harada? Right? Backdash once. I swear. Okay, now it's not happening because I'm crazy. But Elisa can backdash and negate a lot of your options, right? 2-3. She's not backdashing this, right? With the reduced pushback, your down forward one is guaranteed. Yeah, she'll still mess up Demo Man. Wait, what? Oh, whoops, that was on block. Okay, yeah. Backdash still messes up. Right, but what about a throw? Elisa's not backdashing a throw, right? You have one of the best offensive options you're going to get besides a knockdown with your 10 frame punish, right? Very few punishers, 10 frames, leave them at +8 like this. Jin's still knocking down. That's still powerful. I'm not denying that. But the reduced pushback and the offensive opportunities you get from this low alone, solid. Easily top class. How many people, realistically, how many people do you think just ate a 10 frame punish and they're immediately backdashing right away? You're telling me you're fighting with pro players that do this all the time? I mean, if you live in SoCal, yeah, because everybody here is stupidly strong for some reason. Most of the people you fight online are going to be too busy going, oh, I'm trying to mash my next button. So that when you demo man them, right, for a guaranteed, not guaranteed. When you demo man them for nice mental stack pressure, they'll freak out, they'll start ducking. When they start ducking, that's when you bust out the mids, right? Very powerful. If you don't want to use demo man because you don't like that they can backdash it, completely fair, right? At the wall, right, remember what I talked about? +1, frame trap, and then do this. What are they going to backdash, right? Elisa's not mashing into it, but again, at +1, you can frame trap with this. This does not, okay, keep in mind, this does not jail unblock, right? So, oop, yeah, they can still duck it. But again, if you're using with purpose, like you're expecting them to mash you at +1, this is a very powerful frame trap because of the advantageous situation on hit. Excuse me. And if you don't want to use demo man, you have every throw in existence, right? Oh, whoops. Standing block. No. Stand. Eat this 10 frame. You have every throw in existence. At +8, you get a guaranteed throw opportunity. But Shazam, then they can duck. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. They can duck against Paul. Why would they not want to duck against Paul? It's a mystery of the universe, right? If I sound bitter, it's because I am. Because I'm tired of talking with people that just automatically assume, oh, the opponent will just do the correct response every single time. Doi. No. Look at how your opponent responds and then adjust your offense accordingly. Play Tekken. Anyway, why does this matter? Okay, so if I have 2-3 now, when am I ever going to use 1-2? Well, 1-2 still jails, right? So that's still a bonus for it. 2-3, whoops, standing block. 2-3, 2-3, they're ducking it, right? But good old 1-2 still jails. So as keep out, this is useful. If you're trying to approach, this is still good. At -3, you can still create a nice stepping situation, right? Different purposes. If you're gonna go for keep out, if you're gonna challenge the opponent or approach them, I think 1-2 is better suited for that task. If you're just talking strictly punishment, 2-3 gives you a guaranteed demo man opportunity, right? Demo man was not in play when you had 1-2 as a 10 frame punish, right? Nobody would ever have to be worried about demo man. Now they have to consider it. An RPS that literally never existed before now exists, and that is very good for Paul and very bad for the opponent. Again, you don't have to use demo man. You don't have to make it a cornerstone of your offense. I like using it because you just have to make them remember, like, hey, this move exists, right? Be worried about it. And if you do it once or twice, most people will be worried about it, right? Maybe the pros won't, and if you're fighting pros, I got bigger news for you. You got bigger problems, but that's a different story. All right. Now for the fun stuff. Confirm. Oh, this is the only default that I like the Karen hair on. Let's revisit Heat Deathfist. Why do I want to revisit Heat Deathfist? It's a pretty neat move. Record it. Opponent's heat, activate heat constantly. Okay. Deathfist has reversal break. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, there we go. I was like, what the hell? What is reversal break? Someone tries to armor your... Oh, what? What? Okay. That's such a weird... How does that happen? What? I don't understand. Oh! Does the block stun mess up the input? So I have to be blocking the jab in order for... sorry, I'm getting distracted. That's interesting. I never realized that. All these little weird quirks. Anyway, Deathfist breaks armor and parries, right? How many parries have you seen? Boom! Glass reversal break effect. But that's not what I'm trying to do here. That's so interesting, huh? Right, glass break effect. Congratulations. If you're Jin, if you're Asuka, if you're Leroy, if you're using a power crush, Heat Deathfist. Now choose through it like a hot knife through butter. Okay. How many times have you Deathfisted somebody for game, only for them to go like their own heat burst, right? Jab, and then now you just demolish it. You just go, if I have heat and I'm Deathfisting you and you decide I should heat burst right now, you are going to die, right? Before you ask, unfortunately, yes. Rage armor is not, can I not? Oh, I don't have rage, I'm stupid. Where is rage? I'm not gonna bother showing it. This video's long. You will lose to rage arts. You cannot break rage arts. They are a special grade of armor above power crush and parries. But against most of the other people, if you have heat and you press Deathfist and they press anything that involves armor or a parry, even Sabaki's, you know, Paul is just gonna power through it. As a result, they reduce the pushback on, or the wall splatting range and all that stuff. It's also safe. Honestly, with the pushback, I don't know if he was punishing it before, but whatever. It is what it is. Alright. Yeah, so if you're fighting in those matchups where a parry, or if you're fighting an opponent that uses armor a lot, pop heat and tell him, hey buddy, are you gonna gamble? I like gambling, how about you? Okay, and then also the heat reversal, the reversal break properties also apply to down 1+2, so now full charge is now, you know, guard and armor, and down forward, the throw. Excuse me. Okay, on to the next one. Charged hammer was now buffed. This is now forcing crouch. Forcing crouch used to mean a lot more when they couldn't buffer sidestep during it, but at +7 force crouch, it's still pretty good. Another thing, you might see that the pushback seems to be a little bit lower than it was before. Yes, you see it here first, folks. If you are up close and they block this, right? Congratulations, another demo man opportunity. Cross apply the logic from 2+3. Right? Actually, can they even backdash? Because they're forcing crouch, can you? Yeah, okay, they can backdash still, but throw attempt. Let's do another one. Throw attempt. Let's do another one, and we're throwing it, right? So you still have a mix-up opportunity, whether it's a throw, whether it's demo man, whether it's something, or a mid, right? Play the RPS mind game. It is more of an offensive opportunity than it was before. From tip range, you know, that the mind games are not as much there, but you're still +7. You know, be greedy, see how far you can get away with it. You can go for a low, dash up throw, etc., etc. Most people, when they see this animation, right, they're not gonna immediately challenge right away, and if they do, that's what you have frame traps for, right? +7, down forward 4, whatever you want, right? Very powerful option, and of course, at the wall, right, demo man to your heart's content. Backdash is on, go to the wall, blocked, boom, guess for your life, guess for your life. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Okay, wait, look at that, all right. Blocked, guess for your life. They guess, right? Very powerful option at the wall, just like everything else with Paul. And now we get to go into the meat and potatoes of this patch for Paul. It's all about deep dive, baby. They have... they really want to make Paul the deep dive guy. Well, he is now, so whatever. Up forward 2, forward 2 on hit, and forward 2 on hit, and forward 1+2 on block, which we will talk about a lot later, right? These can now go into deep dive. On hit, forward 1+2 has an interesting weird bug. Okay, so look at the screen and you see plus 34. You're like, wow, plus 34, that's crazy. It kind of lies to you. Credits to Ghostface for pointing it out. This plus 34 is only for getting you into deep dive from this thing. In reality, forward 2 is still, there's a lag. There's like a programmed lag. At this plus 34, the only thing Paul can do is hold down forward to transition into deep dive at plus 7. If Paul tries to do anything else, you can like see the lag. Like I am mashing my hop kick, and it is not coming out as fast as one would assume at plus 34. I did some other testing as well, testing Demo Man working, stuff like that, and it would lose to options like can-cans, which I'm thinking, okay, if I'm plus 34, how are can-cans beating me? Because in reality, if you want to do something that is not deep dive, you are not plus 34, you are still plus 9, right? But if you're in deep dive, you're at plus 7. Your high and low from deep dive, which I'll talk about in a second, are 17 frames. So if someone likes to jab, you will frame trap them, right? Very powerful option. Up forward 1+2 does it as well. This is interesting, like on block. So standing block, you are now plus 2 after this. Neat, I guess. They reduced the pushback, right? Yeah, so the pushback in open ground means they're still out of Demo Man range, so if you want, you know, force your stance mix up. Right, stuff like that. The issue being that up forward 2 by itself is still a very awkward move to utilize to a big degree of success, right? It's still a high, it's still very linear. People will duck Paul expecting like a low or something, right? And normally ducking Paul is the you know, the kiss of death, but against up forward 2 it is not. It's a very clunky move, really. I just don't understand it. Anyway. That's kind of whatever. Forward 1+2, if you charge it, you sacrifice on the frame advantage, but get an entry into deep dive. This is very powerful for mental stack, right? What was just a simple plus on block mid RPS, now you have to deal with a stance mix-up, because everything's about the stance mix-ups. I have not experimented with this much. I think it's still valuable for mental stack pressure and whatnot, but you know, you don't have to use the stance transition. This is still a very powerful plus on block mid, right? But experiment with it. You again. In a way, it is similar to classic Paul. You are playing with mental frame advantage, right? Going in neutral and pressing a 17 frame move, you are betting your opponent is too scared to press a button, right? That's what you're betting on. But experiment with it. There's nothing really guaranteed. There's nothing too crazy about it. But again, it is deep dive, right? So, boop. Deep dive canceling into block is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Incredible, incredible stance. Just crazy ass stance. Like, look at that, look at that. You're telling me in the heat of the match as you're blocking this, expecting like the deep dive mid or low, waiting for it to come out, and then the Paul player just goes, boop, oh, whoops. No. How often has someone delayed their demo man timing, or you have delayed your demo man timing, and it just demolishes the opponent, right? Experiment with it, try it out. Alright, I wasn't gonna talk about this, but it's still in the game as of recording of this video. I'm going to talk about the Unblockable, right? It is very likely going to get patched out. It is going to get patched out. They confirmed it. But for whatever reason, Bamco in their infinite wisdom was like, yeah, mid-April, right? So the patch dropped April 1st. The bug was found nearly instantly, I think. And it is, as of the making of this video, April 9th. Jesus. A full week and some days, and this thing is still around. For context, the Lars unblockable or crazy ass bug from ages ago, that was patched out in like 3 days, right? I don't know what's going on between now and then, but there hasn't been a hotfix, and so now if you're playing Paul online and they know how to do this, good luck, right? Okay, how to execute the unblockable. When Paul does normal hammer, hold down forward. When you hold down forward, almost so quickly that you don't even see the transition. You don't see Paul like flail his arms real quick, right? You hold down back, and if you let go of down back, you'll do a wall standing move, right? And you want to do that quickly. So normal hammer, down forward, down back, let go into a wall standing move. Notice I have the dummy to block all. Whoops. What? That hit? How did that hit? Right? Right? How did that hit? I had block all still active. After hit or block, he's still blocking all. So, I don't know how or why, but when Paul does normal hammer, down forward, down back, he can let go into a wall standing option. If you're fast enough, he can do wall standing 3-2, right? Let me see if I can do it. Whoop. Oh my god. Nope. Yes! Oh! Oh! Oh, Mom, get the camera! Alright. Congratulations, you can be online or with your buddies, and if their back is to the wall, you get a guaranteed Wallsplat. Holy brother, look at that damage. Congratulations, you blocked a plus on block mid, and now you eat 64 damage. Or better if I'm not bad. This is honestly trivial. It's not as easy as the jack thing going around, right? The clap. Make some noise, right? But it's pretty easy. I don't have the greatest execution, and I'm pulling this off pretty enough where I'll be a problem, right? Like if I practice this more, I'll get it. Practice it if you want to. If you somehow see this video before they patch it out, God knows when that's gonna be. They said before May, so mid-April, maybe next week. Maybe it'll be end of April. I don't know. I don't really care that much that, you know, it happened. It sucks, it's annoying, but a patch with 1500 plus changes, they got bigger problems. Oh, whoops. Right. Because this doesn't happen from full charge, it doesn't happen from Deathfist. Hammer on hit, right? It doesn't happen from up forward 2. It doesn't happen from forward 2 on hit, right? I mean, that's on block, right? You know, it's just, for whatever reason, they missed it. It's there. Use it or abuse it, or don't. I don't hop on ranked, and if I do, I don't use it. But if I'm playing with my friends in a Discord call, I will, because I need to hear them. Be like, that's not cool. Speaking of not cool, deep dive, baby. All right. Let's go deep dive 1. Deep Dive 1 is a homing high launcher. Natural hit, crumple launcher. If this looks familiar, it's because it's also his strong aerial tailspin. Right. This is an incredible move. I will not hear any other arguments for it. I don't care for them. If you don't like it, hey, more power to you. Deep Dive 1, they will never make me hate you. You are the funniest move in existence. One of the funniest moves in existence. Right. Super far range, right? People say, oh, the actual range is not bad, or whatever. Look, come on, look at that range, bro. Deep Dive is one of the craziest stances in this game. The flexibility of it is insane. Anyway, it's -1 on block. It's a high, so just duck it, I guess. There's not much else to say here. It is a very, 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 very powerful move, especially when you combine it with options like from forward 2, right? Because against jabs, so let's do record it. Let's do no heat. You don't even need heat for this because forward two on hit just does this normally. You don't no heat needed, right? No heat. Sure. Record. Yes. Okay. So, I'm fighting Paul. I accidentally eat forward 2. All right, let me jab him out of it. My jab just gets eaten alive, right? I think 1-2 will beat it. No. Yeah, no. You're trading at best. Right? And that's like if you got a really good jab, right? But most jabs are getting evaded or just trading at best, right? And if Paul's trading a crumple hit launcher with a jab, I think Paul's gonna come out ahead on that trade, right? So this frame trap is very powerful from this situation, and in general, the move is just solid at, you know, making opponents second guess sidestep, and especially second guessing sidestep button. The animation's a little clunky, but this is a 17 frame high, right? This is incredibly powerful. Okay, so if I have this, right, why would I ever use QCB4 over this, right? +1, less range, right, as opposed to this, right? I think they're different. They're just different tools with different applications, similar to the comparisons between QCB4 and down forward 2, right? QCB4 is just still a premier space control tool, right? +1 on block, super fast, right? This is 17 frames, but those deep dive frames do add a lot, right? Again, it's much easier said than done to deal with it, right? Deep dive in a block is so funny. But you're not using these for the same things. You're approaching with deep dive, and you know the opponent is scared, so they're gonna try and step or something, right? And then boom, you just do this, right? It does some chip. God, this thing does everything. God, honestly, I'm surprised it's not +1 on block. What a crazy tool. Crazy tool. But you still want to use QCB4, right? Again. So let's say you're doing deep dive, right? That's still active. Okay. Oh, no, that's different. So, another application, deep dive 1, record this movement. Okay, so my opponent likes to do deep dive a lot. Whoops. Right, they can get eaten by mids, right? Most 13 frame mids, especially 12 frames, will demolish a Paul trying to do any like deep dive stuff on it, right? You need to condition the opponent. Well, how do you condition the opponent, right? We go back to the classic. Boop, boop. Go back to the classic. Boop. Counter. Right, still very powerful tool. They serve different purposes. Functionally, they have a lot of similar stuff. Granted, Deep Dive 1 is just actually a natural hit launcher, right? But QCB4 only being counter hit, it's still a very powerful space control keep out tool. So use it for that, right? Yeah, it's weirdly evasive. I dodged Claudio while running 2. Again, it's not that consistent, right? If Claudio starts doing instant while running 2s, don't just start doing deep dive right away. Or maybe, you know, try it out, whatever. But very powerful tool, very powerful option. Maybe not as layer 1, but definitely powerful, especially in that layer 2, right? When the opponent is like, okay, I'm going to try movement instead. I'm going to do other things, right? All right, now for the creme de la creme, the true power in this patch, right? Deep Dive 4 was changed. What used to be a full screen, neutral on hit, -12 on block, high crushing low, that was a decent poke, right? Now we just have Hatchet. It's Hatchet Kick. This is plus, well, it's even better because this is +6. Brian's is only +5. I mean, Brian now has Snake Eyes install Hatchet. That's very annoying, but that's whatever. Anyway. Right, this is insane. This move is insane. Okay, this video's already long. If you don't like it, I don't know why you're still here. Shut it off, I guess. But I'm going to gush about Hatchet Kick for a little bit. Brian versus Paul have historically been very similar, right? Sluggish characters, right? A lot of good space control options, revolving around a lot of counter hit tools. But Brian has taunt, Brian typically outdamages Paul, and Brian at the wall is way scarier than Paul, right? Brian typically has the edge, and most importantly, Paul's lows are good, right? But they're not like super scary. You just kind of annoy the opponent, build up that frustration. And I liked Paul's low package, but I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you, oh yeah, Paul doesn't need Hatchet. I mean, who needs any move in fucking Tekken 8 Season 2? But I'm not going to sit here and try and sell you on the idea that Paul without Hatchet is bad or anything, right? He did not have a crazy power low like this. All of his lows were neutral, at +4 at best. The trade-off was that they're very safe, right? I mean, QCF3 is -14, but again, that has better range, a crazier counter hit, stuff like that. But Sidestep 3, for all of its crazy properties, has always been -12. Back 4, buffed to be a poor man's stature kick. Why we need the stature kick after the Hatchet, I don't know, but it's fine. Right. What are those does he have? Oh yeah, QCB3. We don't talk about that. Right. It's insane. Brian is balanced with heavy quotation marks because Hatchet is not complemented by the scariest mids in existence, right? Back 1 is scary. Now Brian has QCF1+2. That is scary to a degree, right? But QCF1+2 is not the same as, you know, Deathfist. It's not the same as QCB2. Right? It's not the same as any of other. Paul just, honest mids Michael here just has way more mids than Brian does. Brian has other aspects to help with that, right? But Brian does not have a 15 frame hop kick, right? He has orbital, which is good, right? But as far as like an instant mix up where the opponent's guessing between low or mid, right? Then shredders, right? And anything. So, but again, the trade-off is that Paul gets all these crazy mids that are safe, if not better, but as a result, his lows are just annoying, right? They're still really good, but if you weren't comfortable in this kind of like hit and run play style, right? You were just always kind of being annoying with your lows. You were not chunking people for 22 damage, bro. Also, it's funny, his has a clean hit. Sure. Okay, so that's Paul's thing. He's Mr. Clean Hit. Mr. Clean. Right. It is an incredibly powerful low. Now you're +6. Your down forward 1 becomes an even better lockdown tool. They're sometimes okay. Can I recreate it? Yeah. I can't recreate it, but I've had down forward 1 stepped at +4. Stepped, mind you, to the side it's supposed to track. I press back 4, people sidestep right, and then it whiffs. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm losing my mind, right? Well, thankfully they gave me Hatchet Kick, right? And if that person's here, that's like, oh, just delay cancel your down forward. That's just giving up frames. Anyway, I just want my moves to track. Anyway. At +6, nobody is stepping down forward 1 or using sidestep right against down forward 1. They can still sidestep left, mind you, but it's incredible. Chunky damage, incredible frames on hit, all for -13 on block, right? Very similar to Brian's, but wait, there's more. For whatever reason, they said, okay, this is not enough. We need to give Paul more. So he can also do this from full crouch. So all of a sudden, Paul's just crouching in your face, and boom, you just get Hatchet again. No stance necessary. You just duck, right? And anything that leaves you in full crouch, you can do Hatchet after. 1-4, Hatchet. Down 1, hold, Hatchet. Trooper roll, Hatchet. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that step. That's insane. Right? How many times, both whether you were playing Paul or fighting Paul in those early days, right? He does this into this, right? The classic, right? And before, he didn't really have a low to mix it up with. He was always just do this, or he'd do this, and then if you're someone that showed that you knew how to deal with it, right? You just duck it, and he stops autopiloting this. Now Paul has wall standing 1-2 and stuff, sure, but there's no reason to duck, right? There's no reason. Now there's a reason. Oh, you can whiff. Oh my god. Miracles do happen. Right, so this is incredibly powerful. Yeah, anything leaves you crouch. You duck the throw, but you were too late on the punish. Hatchet them, right? Dick jab, hatchet, right? Now, when you were on the defensive, you're +6, and then do it again. Boop. Hatchet. Look at that. Look at them trying to sidestep right, and Paul just swinging his leg around like that. He is swinging it. Right, whoops. Look, the Paul was like right behind me, and look at that. Look at that. Look at the power. Additionally, if you wanted to do instant full crouch, you can, right? If you do down, down back, and forward in a very swift motion, you can do an instant full crouch move. Right? So if I'm doing down, down, forward, oh, whoops, down, down, forward, Paul just does his generic down, back, 4, right? But if I very quickly get into the habit, whoops, very quickly, you see me go down, 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 back, forward, down, down, back, down, forward, sliding it almost. Look at that. No pushback on hit. Boop, 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 boop. More demo man, more. You get a demo man here. He gets another demo man there. Everybody gets demo man, right? I can't. It is insane for Paul to have a tool like this, as well as all of his other high coverage options. Slow down the pace of the match with your punishment, with all of your space control, and when the opponent is, starting to stop, just stop throwing things out, and they're just trying to wait because they don't want to get counter hit, you just go, okay, cool, Hatchet. Now you're +6 in their face. Ready to start offense, make them guess again. Hatchet into forward 2, stop movement, right? Stuff like that. Oops. Stuff like that. Alright, just loop it again. They're moving, your deep dive and your big ass leg will just hit everybody, and it's still somehow clean hit. Very weird. Very, very powerful option. It just builds momentum, unlike his other lows, right? You had sidestep 3, but let's be real, this is, okay, again, let's just go all the way back, yeah, right? This is sidestep 3 from range, like, 5 or whatever, right? That's not reaching anybody. And here's the hatchet. Boom. Full screen! Full screen, bro. Full screen hatchet is insane. Right? Oh, but what if they mash, and what if I just get hit from full screen? Canceling to block. Look at this. This is instant. Alright, if I'm at range 4, I just have to go down and then hold back, and I can just... boop. Oh my god, no, I can't even do it. Oh, I'm so tired. Right? Boop, 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 boop. Right? Oh, they're ducking because they're expecting hatchet. Well, it's a good thing Paul has a full screen mid option. Boop, boop. Right? Oh, what does this mid option do? It goes back into deep dive. That's crazy. Being able to deep dive from Backsway was one of the craziest changes they ever gave Paul. I love it. Anyway. There's just so much here, right? From the lack of pushback on hit, to, you know, how well it tracks, to how much damage it does, and all of it true damage. Entire rounds can just be built on the momentum from this low and a down forward one. And once they start doing a sidestep right in order to beat the down forward one, right? You go, oh, you're doing sidestep left? Oh, look, everything Paul has tracks in that direction. That's crazy. It's almost like that's Paul's good side, right? It just does so much. And you have so many ways of accessing it, which I'm just fascinated by, right? Practice the instant flow crouch. I swear, this is really useful. This is honestly really useful. I just keep gushing about the move. I don't think the cons are enough. Technically, so what is a con? Oh man, what's bad about Pauls Hatchet? You can't spam it in the same way Brian can. Brian Hatchet into Hatchet is not the same as Paul Hatchet into Hatchet, right? There's a noticeable gap that has, I mean, Hatchet into Hatchet from Brian was also just as susceptible, right? Because Brian Hatchet does not high crush. Or evade, or really anything. It just does it from his sway, right? But Paul, you know, that the extra little lag from deep dive can be noticeable in matches when the adrenaline's running hot, right? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay. Not set. Don't get up. Because, as a fun, neat little thing, whoop, this also still has the counter hit property. You just get guaranteed, down back 2. 43 damage off again. Full screen. Full screen. Oh, without clean hit, it's 38. Oh, oh. And again, this deep dive motion has a lot of evasion into it. You time it right, or just do it, send it, you'll be evading jabs. You'd be surprised. And of course, that's not enough. This low hits grounded. Brian's does not hit grounded. If you're about to tell me, well, I was on the ground and Brian hit me, you press something. You tried to roll, you tried to wake up with the button or anything. If you stay on the ground and just stay on the ground, Brian cannot hit you with his hatchet kick. But Paul, in Harada's infinite wisdom, you know, or Nakatsu's infinite wisdom, can. Why did they give him a low that seems almost antithetical to his entire design, right? His entire design was that his lows were just kind of weak because his mids just delete you, right? At least that's how it was in Tag 2, you know, back in the prehistoric era, in the Cretaceous period or whatever. But they just keep buffing him. They just keep giving him more lows to use. Before, the sidestep 3 was the only good low that he really had. You're not going to tell me with a straight face that QCF3 was a good low in Tag 2. Come on. Come on, brother. Anyway. Second 7, they just kept buffing him. They kept giving him more lows, and the circle is now complete. He has a hatchet kick. Use it. Use it. Use it on Oki. So on Oki, previously, you would have back 4, right? But if you were doing a combo... What's that? Standing... If you were doing a combo, you would have to dash up for back 4, right? Making you susceptible to, you know, wake up moves, stuff like that. You can do QCF3 from farther out. Whoops. You can do QCF3 from farther out, but that does only 16 damage, but pushes the opponent away. Do I still have counter hit on? Whoops. Mm-hmm. 13 damage, pushes the opponent away, so now you have to dash back in and try to continue pressure that way, right? Now, with all of that, right? Oh, whoops. So back 4, you have to dash in. QCF3, you don't have to dash, but you don't really keep up your offensive momentum. Congratulations, you have a Hatchet Kick. Boop, that hits grounded. Look at that. All that work moves you forward. Now, if the opponent gets up, they have to guess again, right? Guess between the hit confirmable mid or the homing high, that's a natural hit launcher, or stay on the ground and eat another hatchet for 17 damage. Right. Incredible, incredible move. This is the best low Paul has, right? Just straight up. Just straight up. There are still situations where you want to use his other lows. For example, where is it? Where is it? All right. Nothing is beating sidestep 3 at the wall. All right, let's be real here. Hatchet's good. It's not sidestep 3 levels of good at the wall, right? So I think this is still valuable on Oki, and I still like using it, right? This thing has a lot of range, bro. It's not Hatchet levels of range, but it's got a lot of range. Very powerful tool. Your minus 12 low gave you 96 damage at the wall. Come on, that's insane, right? So that's still very powerful. Even at the open ground, 48 damage, true damage, mind you, no gray health whatsoever. Very powerful. And Hatchet's good, but it requires you to advance very far forward, right? You make yourself vulnerable. If you just want to be annoying and do some hit and run, why you're trying to do that in Tekken 8 Season 2, that's up to you. Right? If you want to do that, that is up to you, right? Crazy. Crazy powerful option. But the QCF3, the actual low part of it, right, goes farther than the actual Hatchet from Deep Dive. The actual leg itself. Hatchet is boosted from how much forward movement Paul has from Deep Dive, right? QCF3, the actual leg sticking out, still solid. I think QCF3... Yeah, you get like slightly more damage than Hatchet's ground hitting option. You also get wall carry, etc., etc. That's pretty good. Oh, QCF3 counter hit will let you do floor breaks because you have down 1+2 or down 2, right? Very powerful. So there are pros and cons, somewhat, right? But again, being very real, most of the time you can Hatchet and you'll be fine. You'll find these places to poke with QCF3, to go for pressure with sidestep 3, right? Maybe you just want a safer low because you gotta fight Kazuya or Eddie, or yeah, right? Like, that option is there. For the most part, Hatchet is your go-to. Put on some pressure, do Demo Man, don't be afraid. Be not afraid, my child. Just Demo Man the opponent. It's not that hard. Just do it, right? I could talk about this low all day. It is insane. True damage, counter hit property, minus 13 on block, full screen, hits grounded, can be done from full crouch. The list goes on and on for how powerful this move is. You want some real pressure? Here's your real pressure, bro. Again, just loop it, and once they start interacting, right? Boom, once they start challenging, go back to the classic. The entire down forward 1 mind games and wall standing 1-2 mind games, completely different. Excuse me. And that's pretty much it. Oh, there's one more. But wait, this one's not that crazy. It is and isn't. Okay, so to facilitate Deep Dive 1 being a crazy combo tool. Oh, also I didn't talk about combos for Deep Dive 1. It's very weird. I think your combo game for low parries and stuff like that got boosted, but your combo game, because of the nerfs to wall running 2, standard Deathfist, clean hit, as long as you get clean hit, does the same damage as wall running 2 at the end of combos now. But as a result, your damage evens out to what it was before. I still think the wall hit is very valuable, right? So there's just some situations where you're finishing up a combo and you're landing right, like see like that, right in front of the wall. You can't really get one last hit in. Deep Dive 1 will get you the strong aerial tailspin, which then puts them perfectly on the wall, and then you can finish up into your combo, right? Very powerful tool. So to facilitate Deep Dive 1 strong aerial tailspin, they also buffed Deep Dive 2-1, right? No, they did not. Some people have been saying this, and I don't understand why. This move has always been hit confirmable, right? You have 16 frames from the moment the 2 hits, right? Boop, boop. Look at the difference from me sending it, just going boop, boop, versus me delaying it to make sure it actually hit, right? You can see the delay on the screen, right? This has been possible since Season 1. This has always been hit confirmable. Maybe mid-Season 1 they buffed it slightly whenever they started buffing the shit out of Deep Dive 2-1, but the high has always been delayable, right? 3-2-1, that is not delayable. You have to send this right away. You can like counter hit confirm, right? Excuse me. But Deep Dive 2-1, you just look at that hit and then boom. Simple. Practice it. Super easy. But once you actually get the punch to connect, Paul recovers much quicker. He used to, you could feel the lag, right? Like you could really feel the lag. Boop. This troop roll I would mess up all the time, right? But now this thing is easy. Boop, boop. Oh, whoops. Guaranteed damage, and now you get to get mixed into Oki. Boop. Right? Very, very powerful option. I think that's pretty much everything, right? We talked about the bad, we talked about all the good. I think overall it's a net positive for Paul. What he sacrifices in combo damage, he more than makes up for in terms of damage throughout neutral, right? Any combo damage you lost, trust me, the amount of times you're landing this hatchet kick in a game, you'll see the results, right? Let's talk about the ugly. Okay, so why might not people be happy with this? Why would they be upset that Paul finally has Hatchet Kick and is insane right now? Why would they be upset? Because this season is fucking crazy. It's just insane, right? It's just insane. Paul is good, don't get me wrong, right? But I don't know how good it is when you have to fight Lars and whatever the fuck that character is doing. Brian got buffed? On God? On my mother's name? Like, he got buffed? Huh? Jin 214 is -10, which is nice for Paul because he gets the new punish. Okay, cool, right? Down 2 is no longer a counter hit launcher. Okay, I'm happy. And then I'm looking at like looping slash kick pressure because his slash kick goes into stance. What the fuck are you people doing? I don't know, man. I don't know. If you go on Twitter and NA Twitter, all the pro players, they're losing their minds. And so Paul has the unblockable bug, and I think like As soon as they get rid of it, people will stop. People will hype up Paul on Twitter, and then nobody's gonna play him in tournament, and then he'll get buffed again. Whatever, I'll take it. I'll just take it. I'll laugh all the way to the bank. I don't care. Paul has always been Schrodinger's top tier, right? You go on Twitter, you talk to like NA, EU, they swear Paul has been terrorizing their family for generations, right? It's been a nightmare. I'll never survive, right? Down forward 1, I press Paul down forward 1 and my life flashes before my eyes. And I get it. I get it to a degree, right? If I had to spend every waking moment fighting glaciating on a regular basis on Paul, fighting speed kicks on Paul, I would hate him too. Not gonna lie, right? But hear me out, right? I don't necessarily see this as downplay. I'm not saying Paul is a bad character by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't see why you would pick Paul over Lars, over Jin, over Steve right now. Steve is insane. Holy shit. I mean, ignoring the fact that Steve is just a Lionheart bot, right? Like why are you... Okay, if you don't have taunt jet upper and all those fancy combos, yeah, maybe don't pick Brian. Paul's still like baby mode Brian. That's fine, right? But genuinely, like, if you're playing Paul for the damage, because as long as you do damage, you will be good in any fighting game, right? Minor exceptions. Why would I not just pick Lars? The awkward neutral is whatever. They gave him a bunch of entries into stance at +7, +8, where you cannot do anything besides guess. Have you seen the heat low? He summons Raikiri. He's like I watched all those. I binge watched Naruto over winter break after the end of Tekken World Tour. I can now summon lightning, right? And I'm like, what the fuck am I fighting against, bro? What is going on? I don't know, man. I don't know. If this is what it takes to give Paul Hatchet Kick, I don't think it's worth it. This game is just insane. This game is just insane. Whatever. I don't play the game for money. Good luck to those who do. I just like playing Paul and maybe a Muay Thai rep in there. We'll see. Paul's fun. Hatchet Kick's fun. You still need a lot of defense in order to fight against a lot of the people online. People be like, "What defense? You have every panic move in existence." I'm like, okay, yes. If you're already like a semi-decent player that understands Tekken, that understands like, oh, I did something as Paul, it didn't work, and you're able to immediately figure out why it did not work and how you can switch it up for next time so that it works, you're golden. You already know how to play the game. Paul is perfect. Paul's fine, right? But if you're just still starting out, if you're just still kind of figuring things out, characters that have a much easier time to apply offense, Jin, Brian kind of pretty much, right? Lars, they can just mash face on their stances and go to town, right? Brian, it might not counter hit launch, but he still has QCB1, right? I've seen what the Snake Eye stuff can do, man. Don't try to gaslight me here. Brian's insane. Right, June has a full screen plus unblock mid. Like, what am I doing here? Right, I got Hatchet Kick and I got Deep Dive and a Dream, bro. Incredible. Right? Not everybody's gonna feel it. Not everybody's gonna feel the power because the power level of the game has gone through the fucking roof. So, I don't know. I don't know where Paul stacks up in the tier list. I don't care. I don't care. This is not a competitive game. Who gives a shit? This is a party game. I'm gonna press Hatchet Kick. I'm gonna have some fun with it. I'm gonna party, right? I am here to press forward 2, right? And then press Hatchet. Oh, they're trying to hop kick. All right, let me press Deep Dive 1, and then they're dead. Whatever, right? This is a party game. Let's just grab some popcorn and watch the party die, right? Good luck. That's all I got. I think Paul is decent. I think I can understand the frustrations dealing with how crazy the cast is right now. I don't know. We just play Tekken or start doing shoulders, start disrespecting people. Forward 2, really powerful disrespecting option. right? Use your version of the Tekken 8 stance. It's pretty good. I don't know if this helped. I don't really care if it did. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there, see how I feel about it. It's a really interesting time to be a Tekken player right now. We'll see if the game survives. Anyway, if you have any questions, comment section. If you're in the Paul Discord, if you're in the Tekken Zaibatsu, I'm usually there. Feel free to ask me any questions. I think Paul's neat. Is it enough to fight the onslaught of the online menaces? I don't know, man. I don't know. Look for your opportunities. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Will Tekken be fine? I don't know. I think that's everything. If I forgot something, let me know in the comments. Alright, have a good one.